It is day 18 of the 21-day challenge. I just finished my yoga, and yeah, I've had a productive day today. Very mental, lots of thinking, lots of strategizing, and that being said, I haven't planned anything formal for this conversation, I guess, because the day was so planned and structured and about strategy. So a couple of things that I kind of thought I'd like to maybe touch on is the Mercury Retrograde, which started on the 29th of May, so a few days ago now. And this one is a long one. So it goes from 29th of May to the 22nd of June, with the midpoint happening on the 10th of June with in alignment with the new moon. So it's going to be a very, very interesting one. And I was just reflecting upon the messages of Mercury retrograde. It's considered a chaos cycle where things can sometimes get very hectic for people. A lot of people report technology going down or just being a bit haywire. And it is a time, some have compared it, one of my teachers, Robert O'Hotto, talks about it is the time of the unconscious, much like as humans, when we go to sleep, it's the world of the unconscious, and messages come up to be heard or things come up. So Mercury is, if I'm remembering correctly, the messenger of the gods, and in this instance, the gods being the astrological archetypes or the astrological forces, and what are the messages of them. This Mercury retrograde is in Gemini, so the messages coming through the filter of Gemini, being about mental, the mind, about dualism, Gemini being the twins symbolically. So how our minds are structured, what are the patterns of our minds, and to reflect upon that. And this one, apparently, being so long, is really a setup for the rest of the year and into next year, in having a look at potentially what's no longer working and what we may have been pushing down or repressing, that we know its time has come in terms of shifting into a new phase or a new chapter in life. And for me, I believe there are some archetypes that have well, they've probably been overused for a while. They should have released, I was going to say I should have released them a long time ago, but shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? It's now's the time. So no shaming the self or I could have done this at that age or whichever, because that bears no nice fruit. It only ends up in a cycle of not feeling very good. So yes, a lot of reflection, a lot of thinking around, and not just thinking, but feeling things through, intuiting things through, noticing what feels right, noticing the synchronicities of life, and moving through that way. So I think it's going to be a very interesting time. I am quite apprehensive, or I was quite apprehensive earlier today. I, for whatever reason, just started feeling quite stressed out about the uncertainty of it all. But really, as my meditation this morning with Master Ko was about, the only thing that we can be certain about is change. The only permanence is in impermanence. So In other words, the only thing we can rely on is that things will change. The only thing that is permanent is that things are impermanent, which is a little bit of a mind bender and accurate. And I loved his example of the master and the student's trying to meditate to get to enlightenment. And he's telling the master, oh, you know, I'm meditating, but my neck hurts. And the master says, well, that will pass. Or I'm meditating, but, you know, my spine or my legs, that will pass. And then more time passes and he goes, oh, I feel like that has passed. And now I'm finding it easier. And I've suddenly had, you know, the moments of stillness that people talk about, the moments of, some call it enlightenment, some call it just the quiet. And the master says that will also pass. And the student's saying, well, isn't that what we're aiming for? Isn't that, you know, I've worked this hard, that should be the status quo now. I'm obviously paraphrasing the story. And the master says that everything passes. So even those moments of euphoria, the bright light sometimes when you feel really connected, that doesn't happen every time. That will pass. And in understanding that, we don't get upset when things change. Well, you know, why has this stopped happening? And go into this, I thought I was enlightened, but now I'm disillusioned. And it's no, each cycle will pass and a new cycle will begin. And it's interesting, yesterday I was talking about cycles and cyclical nature of life, cyclical nature of nature. I'm sure one of those words is supposed to be something else. I can't even be bothered to go back and think about that, to be honest. I feel like I've centered the point that I wanted to make, which is in regards to the Mercury retrograde, what I'll be focusing on, what I'll be, I guess, listening out for or noticing, and being prepared, I guess, for the chaos. And chaos is not, it sometimes has a negative connotation, but after chaos comes reorganization. So it can be a period of, okay, this is no longer working for me. So, you know, what do I need to release that's no longer serving me, and embrace and own that I've been disowning, perspectives that I need to balance. What's the work in this period? And also the stillness. They do say in Mercury retrograde, it's not a time to make decisions. And I think that's, if I can remember it, and I'll work on remembering it because it is a long period to the 22nd of June, that's nearly 3 weeks worth, of just where possible, if it's not urgent, then just hold, wait for all the information, and then after it, then make a decision. And the other interesting point was the midpoint being the 10th of June, to make that a little bit of a ritual, noticing when the new moon comes in. And what Robert Ohoto talked about was this new moon is not about intentionality. So, you know, sometimes with the full moon, it's, oh, get your intentions, get your projects together, and we'll put energy into that. And in this instance, the new moon is a time for just reflection and letting things land, and just, instead of pushing out intentions, taking in what's there, taking in the energy in the atmosphere. So I think I will leave it there. Interesting things. Really been enjoying the daily recordings. It's helping me to organize my thoughts, and yeah, we'll see how things go. Anyway, namaste. Ciao.